Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. A follower of mine commented on a video a while ago, wondering if I could possibly elaborate my thoughts on being invisible, or attempting to disappear. A conceptual locus I don't normally go in the direction of. Usually on this channel I talk about how to stand out by becoming charismatic, or by emulating any number of godlike dispositions. As an individual, you are contrasted with mass society. An individual is emphasized instead of blending in. I discuss this a lot in my How to Be Ethereal series, which are some of my most popular videos, and it's a reason why a lot of you are subscribed to me in the first place. I thought the idea of invisibility or disappearing was a very interesting topic. But it wasn't until some time had passed, that I really had anything meaningful to say about those things. I still strive to live an ethereal life, a way of living that separates me from the rest. But a new dimension to that has definitely surfaced, has kind of overlaid itself on that lifestyle. Now I see that the meaning of being ethereal has now evolved over the past couple of months. And the desire to disappear, to be invisible, to not exist at all has kind of become an act two. It's a part of the performance where transcendence, where ascension is actually achieved, at least as much as you can achieve it while still being a human being. I use the word transcend in my How to Be Ethereal series frequently, and it's typically defined by me as the moment where someone human is recognized as having an aura of divinity, or perhaps an aureole. To transcend may mean to use discipline as a means to achieve grace. For those of you who are unfamiliar with my How to Be Ethereal videos, grace is one of the hallmarks of divinity. If you have no idea about my How to Be Ethereal series, I'm just going to leave it up there. And now I've noticed transcend has an added definition. It's number 2 on the list. Its meaning is pertinent to a new kind of culture, a new way of living. Transcend now means to detach, like a soul leaving the body. To transcend now, in practice, is like a voluntary, temporary death. Likewise, to disappear, to be invisible, even to die, is like hiding. It's like evasion. There's a reason why mysterious people are always associated with words like this, evasive. Mystery is reliant on hiding, being evasive, being shrouded in shadow. Mystery is divinity. Think of the religious rhetoric. The sacred mysteries, the divine mysteries. Mystique is a characteristic of God and his works, his miracles. And we are hardwired to be attracted to things that we cannot see, things that we cannot comprehend fully. There's also fear, right? Awe, sublime, this overwhelming realization that there's a force larger than oneself. And all that sounds lovely, doesn't it? Feeling like a god, feeling divine, and all that. But disappearing, the act of that, of hiding, of being invisible, of transcending, a temporary death, if you will, is an extreme tendency. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to achieve that feeling, or the methods that I have discovered for how to achieve that feeling. But it is an extreme feeling. Some are more comfortable with it than others. Personally, I have a hard time with it because I'm very rooted in earth. I'm a very heavy being. So the transcending, the lightness of feeling divine, let's say, a feeling separate from the rest in a way that's very solipsistic, I guess I should say. Feels like having the ground ripped from underneath you. I say that though, I'm very attracted to that feeling, and I actively seek that feeling out all the time. So if you're like me, just be wary of what that feeling can do to you, what it can do to your mind. I would say that insanity, delirium is right around the corner with shit like this. After this video, no matter how alluring what I say is, just know what your limit is. Just know when you disappear, when you transcend, that you're forgetting your humanity in a way. You're forsaking a social tie that human beings need psychologically to function properly. Disappearance, in my opinion, should be a temporary act. Even Thoreau went back into town when he was living at Walden Pond. Just remember that. Hopefully I haven't scared you away or anything, because now is finally the part of the video where I'm going to detail some methods of how to disappear, how to be invisible. There are not many. They are all very simple and very effective. So here we go. Now, the first method is secrecy, extreme secrecy. Don't tell anyone anything, nothing. Not where you're going, not your ideas, not the nature of your work, especially as an artist. Do not tell anyone your business at all. You should do things so that you can have them for yourself, and they should be sacred in that way. But when I mean secrecy, I really do mean to just not tell anyone anything. If you hooked up with somebody, don't tell anyone, even your best friends. Unless there's somebody that's doing this disappearance act with you, you are to tell nobody anything about what you do. You should be entirely in your own world, and no signals should be coming out of that world at all. You should be off the radar completely. Just leave, let's say. Go to a different country and don't tell anybody that you did that. Don't answer the phone. Don't be on social media at all. That's not even a question. I mean, it should be deleted. Like, social media is the complete and total opposite of the disappearance act. It is like hyper presence. And if anything, I feel like it's very artistic whenever somebody just kind of doesn't upload or doesn't post, or is like to not be seen for like months at a time or something on social media apps. I love that. I love that people can detach in that way. You look through your stories, so you'll look through your feed, and you're like, oh, they haven't posted in a while. You know, what have they been up to? And it's just kind of like their air, especially on social media, because like social media, your presence on social media is already kind of fake. It's almost not real in a way. It's too curated. So whenever someone disappears, it's like they really don't exist. I think it's fabulous. So yeah, no social media. Not a chance. Get rid of it. Delete it. Don't answer the phone. This is mine. This is my one that I do that's pretty bad. I hate answering my phone. I hate text messages. I hate making plans. I hate all of that. Don't answer the phone for anybody. I don't. People are calling me. They're asking me about, especially stuff that has to deal with life, like real life stuff. I just don't want to deal with it. Just don't answer text messages. I mean, think about this. We used to live in a world where we didn't have our phone at our side all the time, where you had to call someone's home phone to get a hold of them. And if they didn't answer, they were busy. You don't have to answer your goddamn phone. You really don't. If you're busy, you're busy. Leave your phone at home. You don't need it. You really don't. And if you can't survive without your phone, you'll be all right. People were doing it for a long time. You can do it. Anyway, try to make it difficult for people to come into contact with you, I'd say. Obviously, unless it's like an emergency. Leave a party. Leave a lover's bed without any explanation. Like you were never even there. Don't tell anyone anything. That's really just it. Be vague about yourself, especially your childhood. Don't tell anybody where you hail from, what your story is, all those real juicy secrets about, why you are the way that you are and all that. Never tell people that. It's very tempting and fun and narcissistic and egotistical, but just don't do it. You don't want to have any ties to the world. No one needs to know. You need to really, actually, seem like you were just born out of thin air. Do you have a mom were you given birth to? No. You manifested. That's what it should be like. Secrecy is a really important one. And I'm going to say that I learned this and desire to be more secretive due to a very good friend of mine. So this is a nod to you, babe. The second method I call the Vespertine creature method. If you don't know the word Vespertine, it means active or occurring at night. It's usually referring to plants, but I think Vespertine is a much more beautiful word than nocturnal, so I use Vespertine instead. I myself am like this to an extreme degree sometimes. I regularly stay up until probably 4 to 6 in the morning when I'm not working. So it's just staying up at all hours of the night. The reason why I include being Vespertine in this video is because the nighttime really does something to you when it comes to this separation, to this disappearance. Because at night, most people are asleep. Generally, I'd say most of the population where you live are asleep. They are unconscious, okay? So they might as well just be dead, not alive, not there, not real. And you are the only thing that is. So that really, really separates you from the rest, and kind of you feel like you don't exist because the rest of the world doesn't exist at that time. Nighttime is very interesting in that way. And I'll explain a little bit more. Aside from people going out clubbing and like partying all hours of the night, which I personally love that feeling because people are very different at night. People operate differently at night. But especially when you get into those wee hours of the night where we're talking like 5, 6 in the morning, that's where you pass over this very eerie kind of threshold. To me, it's just exciting. I've just always I've never been the person to go to bed early, but it's gone to, I will give 2 examples here. It's gone to extremes that I have to note here. One example is very recently, me and a friend of mine, we stayed up all night and all day. Now, I mean all day. We literally, I think we were up the whole day before, went through 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3. We didn't take a nap until the next day, until about 4 p.m. And when you pass over that threshold, that's a very surreal feeling that you have stayed up all night, all day. 1, you don't feel human at all when you do that. And 2, to go about your day, to go about doing things, especially if you don't have to work or anything like that. I'm talking like a day off, 2 days off where you do this. That feeling is unlike anything else. Watching the sunrise and seeing a new day, that you behold the new day, and that it was just nighttime only an hour or 2 ago. It's so strange, but that feeling separates you like nothing else. I remember driving in traffic around like 3 o'clock that day and just being like, these people are coming back from work right now and I haven't slept all night. It's a very extreme feeling, and nothing makes you feel more separate from other people than using the night. The second example is, this was many years ago. This was when I was in college. This was towards the end of my education. And I had a lot of days off. I had a lot of free time. I think I only had 2 days where I had to go to school. It was all just packed in those 2 days. There were about 4 days, I believe, where I was completely and totally Vespertine. I was sleeping during the day and awake at night. My hours were, I woke up at 7 p.m. and went to bed at 11 a.m. I'm not kidding. And this was during the time where like it was dark by 7 p.m. So I had maybe like 3.5 hours of daylight or something like that. And I hated those hours, not to mention that I think that's like one of the ugliest times of day is like early morning. That's just an opinion. But for me at that time, it wasn't the surrealism behind it. It was the antisocial aspect of it. This disappearance act where you just aren't a part of anything, where you just levitate to the point where you just float away, not being of society at all. And during this time, I did this deliberately. I hated the daytime. I hated the way it made me feel. It made me feel like I wasn't getting enough shit done. It was terrible for me creatively. And I actually wanted to separate myself physically from the people that were active during the day, because to me, usually the people that are up at night are usually the artists, the people that are really into their work. They come home from their other job and they're doing what they really love to do and they're really involved in it. That's nighttime hours. Or it's people who like party a lot and stuff like that. So it's a very different attitude at night. And so I wanted to be a creature of the night. That was who I was at that time. I didn't want the hustle and bustle of the day, of this get it done attitude. I wanted to be at peace. I wanted there to be a time to just, I wanted complete silence and rest. And I got a lot of stuff done during that time because no one was up. No one was around. As soon as I got up at like 7 p.m., my roommate, she was coming home from class and like making dinner. It's a very strange feeling. It's a very extreme feeling. It was a little bit too much for me. I only did it for 4 days, but that will do it, because nighttime is a separation from the real world. It's really that simple. The surreal aspect, the antisocial aspect. I feel like doing things at night, that's probably, besides secrecy, is probably one of the easiest ways to just detach, to be completely separate. Unless you like go to, let's say, a physical place where there are no people at all, like a walled-in type scenario, for example. Now, the last one is something I talk about all the time. The last one is solitude. And all three of these methods are just, they kind of are each other. You're making that deliberate separation from the world. You are taking yourself away, putting yourself into a little cocoon, and protecting yourself from all that. The practice of solitude has been a staple on my channel for a very long time. I've often tied it to the philosophy of Solipsism, which is the school of thought that your mind, my mind, for example, is the only mind to exist. Being in solitude plays off of secrecy, but it's more about where you spend your time. Secrecy is about what you tell people, what people know about you. Solitude is about like a physical place. It's a concealment. It's pretty much as literal as you can get to disappearance, which is why it's last on the list, because it's so obvious. And when you combine solitude, secrecy, Vespertinism, nocturnalism, whatever, you really achieve transcendence. That's like cutting off an artery. That's why I say that these methods are extreme, especially when you combine all of them. Like, I'm not trying to advocate for you to be a hermit or a recluse. I'm just saying that these methods are kind of like a defense. It's like a necessary incubation period so you can spend proper time with yourself. There's a reason, let's say, I don't answer certain text messages and stuff. Like, I have shit to do artistically. Like, I need to get things done, I need to be completely and totally cut off from that world out there because it's distracting. There's too much going on out there. Politics, religion, civil duties, like all this, like world events and stuff like that. I am just like, it's too much, especially with social media and our exposure to everything in the world right now, overexposure. We need to crawl up into a ball and just stay away from it for a while. There's a reason why people take hiatuses from social media. There's a reason why people just go out to a cabin for a couple of weeks and don't tell anyone, don't talk to anybody. What I'm saying here is nothing new. I think it's even more common now because of how overly exposed we are to the world. It's distracting. There's too much going on all at once, and I think it's necessary to just spend some proper time with your thoughts, your own influences, things that you care about, and to just find yourself again. Achieve something meaningful from that time. I have learned a lot about myself in those incubation periods, in those times of solitude where I just fell off. Nobody knew where I was or what I was doing, what I was up to. Just know that when disappearance, when invisibility, transcendence, the temporary death, whatever you want to call it, is done right, it is done to be reborn again. And all of it really makes you feel so lofty and so light. That's why I only do it for like a couple of days at a time or something like that, because it's almost frightening. There's like a reason for that. It's just kind of fading from what you have grown to know is normal and what is comfortable to you. It's really like a prelude to death in a way. It feels like you have died, like the world has moved on without you. And that shouldn't be scary, but it's a knee-jerk reaction. That's how a lot of people, myself, most people will probably feel about it. But again, I look for this feeling. I want to feel that feeling. I want to feel that discomfort. Anyway, I've been talking for a very long time, but I want to know if any of you have practiced disappearance, and I'd like to know what your methods are. I know I have been a real shit about responding to comments. I will get to them. I read your comments. I read everyone that I get. I just have been really bad. You see, even with my channel, I'm like this. I just like push everything away. But I will respond to them eventually, I promise. They're just piling up. But yeah, please tell me what your methods are. Anything that I haven't listed, because I only have 3 here and they can be kind of vague. So I'd love for you to tell me them below. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please do not forget to leave a like, subscribe, comment below, and I will see you guys next week. Goodbye.